Ladies and gentlemen, dedicated parents, friends, and passionate viewers, welcome to the NEET webinar, a platform of aspirations, determinations, and excellence. Today, we stand on the threshold of one of the most challenging exams in the world, the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, NEET. As we embark on this journey together, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you joining us from various corners of the globe, united by a common goal to conquer needs. United and pave the way for a brighter future in the field of medicine. And to our viewers across social media platforms like Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, your presence amplifies our spirit, reminding us that we are not alone in this pursuit of excellence. Once again, welcome to the NEET webinar. I'm Gracelyn DeMonte, Faculty of English, and I'm here to host today's webinar. Today's discussion focuses on NEET long term. Joining us is Mr. Subramaniam, CEO of Rockwoods Junior College and Vedasri Lingala, to shed light on the NEET long term. Welcome, sir. To kick things off, sir, I would like you to tell what is NEET and what subjects are a part of NEET.
Thank you, Gracelyn. Very good evening, everyone. We have done few webinars talking about NEET in detail. So today we wanted to answer plenty of questions on the NEET examination. To begin our question hour session, so let me answer your first question. What is NEET and what subjects are part of this examination? NEET examination is conducted in order to give admissions in the medical colleges across in India. So if a student wanted to get into medical colleges in India with MBBS or BDS, Ayush and Ayurved, BHMS and veterinary, any kind of medical courses, if child wanted to pursue in India, those children must take up NEET undergraduation exam after their 12th. NEET stands for National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. And this exam is conducted once in a year, typically in the first Sunday of every May. And as part of this examination, there are going to be majorly 3 subjects: biology, physics, and chemistry. Biology, again, typically divided into botany and zoology. That's about what is NEET and what subjects are part of this examination. Back to you, Gracelyn.
Yes, sir. What are the preparations that a child needs to do for NEET?
All right. So I meet plenty of students and also parents who have wish of writing this exam after their 12th. So a student who is wishing to take up this exam, so in order to prepare for this examination, what is very important is they must look at least 2 years of preparation if child is in the grade 11. So both 11th grade and 12th grade, if they ensure to dedicate close to 12 to 13 hours in a day, listening to classes effectively, and then following it up with good practice at home or during hostel study hours, writing regular mock tests, and also analyzing the mistakes that students are doing in the mock test and understand what the correct answers are, and taking care of health during the entire 2 years duration. All these would play very, very, very major roles in thorough preparation of the NEET. Also, don't forget children who could not crack right after their 12th exam. They are typically called as repeaters or NEET long term. And in case if you are trying to attempt this exam one more time, if those students thoroughly prepare the entire year, I can assure you, you will be able to see success in the NEET examination. And couple of more tips, how children can prepare is, NEET examination is based on the NCERT 11th and 12th syllabus, meaning children must master NCERT as part of their preparation. Thorough and deep understanding of NCERT concepts would give guaranteed success at the NEET examination. I hope I answered your question, Gracelyn.
Yes, sir. So moving on, since you've told us what are the preparations, could you tell me like what are the common errors that the children are doing while preparing for the NEET exam?
Definitely. In fact, I would say that is, one of the very good question. So, as I mentioned, children must look at 2 years if they are starting their 11th, or at least a year if they are repeating the NEET examination. So, let me now talk about the typical errors children do. One very common error that children do is, especially when children are in their 11th, they tend to wait, let me wait, let me get into grade 12 and then I start preparing for the examination. That is one typical mistake, because NEET exam contains both 11th grade syllabus and 12th grade syllabus, and typically 45 to 50% of questions would come from grade 11, meaning grade 11 has equal importance as with grade 12 syllabus. So preparing from their 11th is important. So children, they tend to do a mistake of waiting for their 12th grade to prepare for NEET exam. That is one of the most commonly made error. And second mistake I would say is, children as part of their NEET preparation, be it any institution, children will write plenty of mock tests. But the intention of the mock test is to look at how well children are performing. And second intent of this mock test is also to understand where children have gaps. But I have seen children typically committing a mistake of not looking at those mistakes. In the mock test, if children have done close to scoring 500 to 550, meaning children could not still score somewhere around 150 to 170 score yet. If they can analyze those mistakes, the questions which they could not attempt successfully, and solve those things as part of the error analysis, exam by exam, children will become better. I have seen children not excelling the NEET exam, they typically tend to do this mistake, very common. And third mistake is neglecting NCERT books. As part of NEET, as I mentioned, syllabus is straight away picked from NCERT books. So neglecting NCERT books would be one more typical common mistake. Whatever reference books that you might be using, every institute has their own books, and in the market you'll find plenty of other reference books. But above all, you must start with NCERT first, and then you go to the second set of reference books. So this is one more common mistake which children tend to do. And third, last one I would say is, as part of mock test and preparation, children, when they write plenty of exams, getting sometimes good scores, sometimes bad scores is part of the journey. You must not get discouraged looking at low scores, and also feel very high when you get good scores. So it's going to be part of your journey of preparation. So you must continue to prepare well without losing hope. These are the typical common errors children do as part of their preparation. Wesley, back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Could you tell me, considering the cutoff, could you please tell me how many answers should a child be answering correctly in order to secure a seat?
Sure, Wesley. There is not a fixed number of questions that a child can do as part of securing a seat guaranteedly in MBBS. But typically, out of 720, 500 plus is going to be tend to be a safe score. In order to get 500 plus score, one must do close to 130 odd questions and with very minimum number of negative answers. So 500 plus would be a safe score. For that, a student can think of doing a minimum of 130 odd questions correctly. However, this number of questions, these marks would vary based on the category that a student belong to. So if it is open category, it is slightly bit more. If it is OBC, slightly it is less, and so on.
Yes, sir. And could you tell me what are the materials does a student at Rockwoods follow? What are the types of materials they use?
All right. So as I mentioned, so we always begin the basics with NCERT, and then we also have Rockwoods curated material. And in this Rockwoods curated material, for every chapter, we have close to 200 to 400 odd questions. So these questions are in the pattern of how the questions are asked in the NEET examination. So we ensure to cover the concepts from NCERT. We make sure children understand the concepts deeply from NCERT, and then we make children to practice from Rockwoods material. That way their preparation is thorough. And then at the end of the day, they would write daily practice test. At the end of the week, they will write 720 NEET pattern examination. That's how preparation would be at Rockwoods, and the material that we use is majorly NCERT and Rockwoods curated.
Thank you, sir. Can you tell us the timetable for a long-term student at Rockwoods for NEET?
Sure. So long-term students, we will have two type of children, three I would say. So one is residential students who are going to be in the campus, and their preparation typically would start all the way from in the morning at 6 o'clock, and they wake up at 5 and they take bath and get ready by 6 o'clock, and 6 to 7 they would sit for study hour, morning study hour, and then 7 to 7:30 they will have breakfast, and 7:30 to 5 o'clock until in the evening with the two short breaks in the middle and also one lunch break in the afternoon. So during 7:30 to 5, we will have 2 hours of teaching time and 1 hour of practice time with the in presence of faculty members. And in the evening, we will have 30 minutes of break time where children tend to spend time in the ground playing little games, and that's how they get relaxed. And 5:30 to 6 o'clock they will take bath, and 6 to 7:30 they will sit again for study hour, and 7:30 to 8 is going to be dinner, and 8 to 9:30 they would again sit for study hour. Last 30 minutes is for daily practice test. Semi-residential children also follow same schedule, just that after night study hour they go home. And if it is day scholars come in at 7:30 and they will be here until 5. That is a typical schedule at Rockwoods, NEET Academy for NEET long-term students.
Yes, sir. How are the mock tests conducted? And when are these mock tests conducted for NEET long term?
Okay, so mock tests play a very crucial role in preparing children thoroughly for NEET examination, and they help us, every student, understand how students' preparation is going on. So, as I mentioned, mock test, NEET mock test, we conduct every weekend on Sunday morning. And remember, as part of our micro schedule, what we wanted to cover day-wise. On the same day, teachers, faculty members would be teaching the concepts and making children to practice. And at the end of the day, they will be writing daily practice tests. At the weekend, and they will be writing exactly NEET pattern examination that would be 720 marks. And daily practice test will have 5 questions from each subject. Botany 5 questions, zoology 5 questions, and physics, chemistry 5 questions each. So in all 20 questions, 20 minutes we would give. Weekend exam, as per NEET pattern, we will give 3 hours, 20 minutes. And children will write. On the same day, we will share the key. And next immediate day, we will give the marks and also counsel the children for the common errors that they have done. And we also allow children to practice the error analysis in the error analysis notebooks.
Okay, so what are the preparation that goes post mock test for NEET long term?
So right after examination, as I mentioned, we will share the key and solutions with the children. So that way children will refer to the key and they cross-check how they have done, and we also allow them to practice by allowing them to refer books. That way they try to understand typically the mistakes that they have done. The immediate next day, teacher, faculty member would be discussing the question paper in the classroom, and they also will be allowing them to solve the not attempted questions which are attempted wrongly in the error analysis notebooks. When we do this over a period of time, week after week, exam after exam, children tend to become much stronger and better, and their scores will become much better with every exam.
Thank you, sir. And what are the facilities does Rockwood have for NEET long term?
So at Rockwoods IIT NEET Academy, we have privilege to have very experienced and expert faculty. They have been in this field of preparing children for NEET kind of examination for very, very long time. That would be, first criteria, I would say, why, one must choose Rockwoods NEET Academy for the NEET preparation. And second factor that, you can look at is our infrastructure. Be it our classroom infrastructure and, with the digitalized classrooms and, very spacious classrooms and dormitories. And also we have playground, unlike the other institutes where they don't have such kind of facilities. Here children tend to get little relaxation so that they can really focus well when they are preparing, practicing during the classes and study hours. Apart from that, we have library with wide variety of books and labs. So there are cases where when we perform the lab activity, children conceptual understanding becomes much better, much concretized, rather than explaining the concept multiple times. instead make them do experiment one. So we have labs, physics, chemistry, and bio labs at our campus. So infrastructure wise, faculty wise, and we are really extremely placed very nicely. So Rockwoods NEET Academy is going to be the safe and very secure and place for your NEET preparation.
Yes, sir. Could you please shed some light on the difference between the preparation for NEET in inter and long term?
Definitely. Gracelyn, I think when a child has the aspiration of cracking NEET exam, as I mentioned, they must look at when they join their 11th grade itself. So when they join 11th grade, uh, utilizing 11th and 12th, both the years, children will be able to comfortably prepare for NEET exam by listening to faculty throughout these 2 years, taking up mock tests, referring to NCERT, and based on the mock test, analyzing the errors and solving those questions and taking care of their health, and also continue to prepare irrespective of how scores are coming. So these things would greatly help children to have a good success finally at the NEET examination. However, when child could not crack, after their 2 years of preparation, they typically take NEET long-term coaching, where they will have one more crack at NEET examination. During this 1 year, first and better choice would be, selecting a right institute like Rockwoods NEET Academy. And there are many number of cases where I have seen children tend to stay back at home and prepare. That may not be a very good idea. You might prepare well, but you will not know how well or how bad you are preparing, because you will not be able to compare with your peers. And that's why it is very good option to choose a good institute for your long-term preparation. You will have that kind of environment, and you will have the guidance of faculty members, and you will be able to write the mock test week on week and daily practice test every day, and compare how well you are progressing. And if there are any rectifications that you need to do based on your scores, you will be able to act and then correct those preparatory steps. So with the NEET long term, as I mentioned, choosing right college and then preparing again, 14 hours in a day would greatly help you to prepare well and come out with flying colors at NEET examination.
Yes, sir. So this will be the final question, and this is going to be the very important question: is stress. So, how does Rockwoods handle stress for long-term students?
Sure. This is very, very, very good question, I would say. So children, especially who are trying to take up such kind of difficult and prestigious examination, children definitely would go through some stress. And when they are trying to reattempt, so the idea of failing at that exam, not able to secure very good score even during the second attempt, that thought itself will create a lot of stress among the students. At Rockwoods NEET Academy, we support children to have goal setting process. That way, week on week, month on month, we try to help them to set the goal and measure and how well they have achieved that goal or not. That way, the failure rate we bring down drastically. Apart from that, we also give motivational classes, and there is going to be a counselor in our campus who would help in understanding. Getting low scores at times is completely all right. So somebody must listen to them, understand, and resolve any anxieties that they might have. So at Rockwoods, we provide that kind of support. Apart from the counselors, the management at Rockwoods NEET Academy, faculty members are experienced enough to understand such kind of issues upfront and sort it out so that children are preparing comfortably, very confidently throughout the year.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering to all these questions patiently and very clearly. So now I'll move on to Veda. Veda, can you please tell me what should a student know while choosing stream PCB?
Hello everyone, first of all. I think this question is more based on for the students who are yet to choose their stream. But I would say for all the students who already choose the stream, who are already in their 11th and 12th grade of PCB, I would still recommend you to just listen what I'm saying because it will still be useful. For the students, I want to say is, first of all the three subjects are interesting. Hear me out. You might have your opinions and in your brain already be like, oh, blah, she's just, saying the same thing. But let me tell you, genuinely, all the topics, and there are certain topics even more interesting. But the thing is, it depends on how you take it. And those topics need imagination. And when you read them in textbook or when your teacher is explaining, you just use your imagination and think, what situation might this work? That will help all the students to just, understand the topic or practically put it or help them solve problems. I would say that is one of the important thing that all the students need to know who are in PCB or PCM. It might work for them too. That imagination is one of the key point for you to just, understand the topics. Okay. And one is that you should, especially for the students who are preparing for competitive exams, I would want to say that you should understand there are different strategies for each of the subjects. You can't use the same thing that you're using for all the three subjects or four subjects, because if I have to say in physics, when it comes to NEET, at least for NEET preparation, you can't, your textbook, of course, read textbook thoroughly, but it's not enough. But at least the competitive exams, you need to buy a good or competitive book and practice as many as different questions, different type of questions as possible. Okay, so at the end of the 12th grade, you need to know all the different kind of questions are formed on a topic. So for example, for chemistry, I think, reading your textbook and, practicing your in-text questions is more than enough. And for bio, I would just say read the textbook line to line. You should know it by heart. So each of the subject has their own strategies and you can create your own too. So just what I suggest is one might work for one subject, the other one might not work as well as it does.
Yes. On what basis should a student choose PCB?
First of all, it has to be your interest. Okay, we can't do anything if you're not interested in the subjects. Again, it is secondary if you want to become a doctor, if you don't want to become a doctor. But right now things are changing, so it's not that you only can become a doctor. But the thing is, it has to be interest of your interest. Like if you're interested in bio, if you're interested in chemistry, right? So just choose if that is of your interest. And I would say that you should also consider external factors such as the field, like what is the scope of that subject or that education in future, like what is the scope that you're going to get in land into a job, or what is the scope of that job, right? That is also one of the important factor that you need to consider. But if you're a student like me, have many interests, like if you have couple of interests even in being a doctor, what I would say is consider what world needs, right? For example, I might be interested in neuroscience, I might be interested in cardiology, I might be equally interested in veterinary, right? But I do know that there are many great surgeons over there, but I don't think, at least in India, there are a lot many veterinary doctors. So might as well choose to become a veterinary doctor. So, this is also one of the factors that I request students to just consider, is that what world needs, you are contributing something to the world at the end of the day.
Now, after all this is being chosen and decided, on what factors should a student choose a institution?
I think we talk about this a lot, and I think we will still continue to talk about this. That would be okay. Firstly, I would start with a great infrastructure, because infrastructure, I think not many people really do consider this, but a open place, a free place, a good environment can just change a person's life. Again, students are here to study, but again, they are also spending their life in here, 2 years of their life, or maybe 1 year for long term, right? So I would request parents to consider the environment. You don't want to be congested. You need to have free classes, such. I think the environment really helps us to just keep our brain cool, regardless what's going on in the subject. So I do say that infrastructure environment is important. Facilities that the institution provides, on the basis of learning, what could they just give? And as one that we provide is that counseling. Uh, that is one of the major factor, because it helps student deal with stress. Not many of the institutions out there think so, but we do. And I would also suggest parents to think about what the college is as a whole, because at the end of the day, you have to consider that what they believe, that is what the student is going to learn. So apart from subject, and of course faculty, the books, and their the way of their education, but as a college whole will also really help students, is what I would say.
So, how better is the facility in Rockwoods and its teaching style?
Okay, very much. I would say it's very much better out there. It's becoming even more better right now. Firstly, talking about facilities, we have small class sizes. It For 11th and 12th grade, it doesn't like go above 30, and for long term, it's even more smaller. So like we have spacious classrooms where we have small size of uh, students. So like when these students get a specialized attention by each and one, so that the teacher could know and suggest them what they're lacking. Each and every student gets like equal amount of attention. They have their own times to just go to teacher and ask. There's so much time and there's so much space in here. And coming to the teaching style, something I really like is that the practical way of learning. We have a whole different physics lab and a big chemistry lab where we get to just practice the things that we have learned in the class. Again, imagination, but doing it in practical is even more fun. So I would say, everything, these kind of things also just makes learning interesting. And yeah, that is what I would just say is something really best in Rockwoods Junior College, I would say.
Yes. Thank you so much, Veda, for patiently explaining everything for us. And thank you for joining us in this webinar. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you